Figure 4 Radio.
Lock it in. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Hello everybody and welcome to Figure 4 Radio. Today we're covering part 2 of our promotions talk. We've got so much to bring you to this week again. And of course I'm joined as always by good hello. It's the killer Kai Brand.
Goodbye.
And we're joined by, he now has his proper Figure 4 Radio name thanks to his dance to the toilets during WrestleMania 32. It's Luke O'Mac.
Hello, everyone.
Sada. No, wait, that's EC3's music.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll take that. I'd yeah.
you'll take EC3.
You take another cider.
I'll take down the cider and EC3.
So anyway, let's get stuck back into promotions. We haven't really touched on WCW yet, have we?
Do we need to?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so because I think we mentioned it last week, and I almost touched on the fact how WCW it would take something that WWE would turn up to 11, they'd turn it up to 20, and you've got a cage match. We're going to have a triple decker cage match.
That was fucking awful.
You want a Royal Rumble? We're going to put
what was
two
the
rings
one with
next
the
to each
electric
other.
chair in it? What was that about?
Chamber of Doom match, was it?
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that was
Halloween
That was
Havoc
ridiculous.
with the electric chair, and then Abdullah the Butcher got electrified.
Kayfabe killed.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Is what it should have been.
We've touched on the things on a poll. Yeah, say you've got war games where you've got rings next to each other and rings on top of each other, and like, did they?
But then hang on a second. Let's flip this back the other way around and say that they were doing horrible matches, but wasn't the 24/7 hardcore title just as shit? Pinning someone up against a wall and getting a referee to count 3 in silent. Wasn't that really kind of bad?
That's kind of entertainment now, I think, because you had like
that would have been good at this time of age with the social media.
That's true.
Going, hang on a minute.
That's true.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. So they should be doing that now.
I'm just thinking like some of the matches that I haven't seen them yet, but I've heard about them. So you got like 60-man battle royals. You got 3-ring war games.
How do you do a 60-man battle royal? Have half of them come in, get eliminated, go and change their tights, and then come back out again?
No,
they can't have had
60. They had 60 wrestlers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, what I liked about WCW is the WWE had all this money. They were legitimately one of the biggest, if not the biggest, promotion in the world, from the north of America, like wherever. And then you had WCW going, I see your money. Here's a lot of money.
That's it.
We're going to go up against you.
They just took something
They
that
had
was
the
big
South,
and
though,
they made it even bigger.
Exactly, and they did for 84 weeks or something.
Yeah,
I wanted to say 96 weeks, but
no,
it wasn't. Was it 84? There you go.
173.
Definitely 100. But no, that's what I liked about WCW. I couldn't get WWE when I first got into wrestling. I could only get WCW. That's why I'm hooked on.
Wasn't
WCW.
it on like Channel 5 or something?
Yeah, I say. Well, we've referenced it a few times.
Yeah.
I used to watch. I'm not sure what it was, and I still can't really find out what it's likely to have been. But I remember seeing an unmasked Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman in a tag team.
Oh wow!
I remember Tank Abbott, who I don't ask me why, because from what I gather, that's like somebody saying that. I don't know.
Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, well.
Oh God! Don't mention Ziggler.
That's someone like someone saying, "Oh, the Big Show is my favorite wrestler." I for some reason I really like Tank Abbott.
Hey, a Big Show back in the day, he was fucking awesome.
He was.
Well, as the Giant, yeah. Before he was, to be honest, WD-40. I need some. WWE actually ruined the Big Show's.
Oh yeah.
Like,
but actually,
character.
it kind of because there's always jokes about how he turns. Like he's turned so many times. His first pay-per-view appearance, because this is how I'm learning my history of the WWE, is every pay-per-view. So the bits in between I skip out on, and I kind of just get the.
Wasn't that when he came for a ring or something?
It was in a cage match, wasn't it?
Second pay-per-view appearance in that case. His debut was St. Valentine's Massacre. St. Valentine's Day Massacre. It was In Your House 27 main event. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon for a spot in the Royal Rumble.
That was it.
And Big Show came up through the ring, threw Austin into the cage side, but the cage, he threw him with such force, the cage swung open, and Austin landed on his feet. His actual first pay-per-view match was for, I think it was WrestleMania 15, and it was against Mankind, and the winner of the match would referee the main event. And Big Show even turned at the end of his first match because he was meant to be Vince McMahon's bitch, and then he lost the match really stupid way. He just got himself disqualified by using chairs. Vince McMahon tore him a new one. He grabbed Vince by the throat, gave him a choke slam, turning him face. In his very first match, he turned. It just makes me laugh because I saw that, I was like, fucking hell. So even from day one, he's just been turning.
How's that Russo?
It could have been. It probably was. Probably was.
Back in that day, probably was.
Yeah. But yeah, WCW, we talk about that?
Yeah, we're talking about WCW. What I liked initially about WCW compared to WWE...
Yeah, what is it that makes you...
It really was the cruiserweights. And then you had, like, the Hulk Hogan's, the Kevin Nash's, the people who you
the big
knew
names.
Yeah. Were you into WCW before Hogan came over?
No, I didn't. I got into him about mid-97.
Okay.
Maybe 96.
So you're watching all these cruiserweights. What was your reaction when Hogan came in?
No, he was already in there.
Oh, he was. Oh, sorry, he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I come in, he had already turned heel because I remember the Hulkamaniacs back from when I was like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he was a bad guy. I was like, what the fuck's just happened here?
Yeah.
But as I got into that side of it, it was the cruiserweights, and then when you switch over to WWF. And they had nothing like that. It was just like, okay, these big burly men just holding each other down. But when you got like you say, Rey Mysterio, you've got Eddie Guerrero going at it. It was Dean Malenko.
I think the beginning of the whole entire WCW versus WWE thing was very much in WCW's favour. Like you said, they had the checkbook, they had the names, and then you go into WWE and you'd see men dressed up as like, I don't know,
Garbage Man.
Yeah, Garbage Man and stuff like that. And
Duke the Dumpster Droese.
I'm going to post your.
Who was the Reaper guy? The Repo guy.
Oh, Repo Man.
Yeah. He was
formerly of Demolition. I can't remember if it was Axel Smash, but
horrid.
Yeah.
Utter horrid characters. And like when they did like Monday Night Raw and they thought, right, we're going to go down this edgier area and stuff. Yeah, and
that's what I liked about it.
It was just like turning over and having this family-friendly thing when you've got proper wrestling in WCW at the time was, you know. So as much as I say I'm not a WCW person, like I liked what they kind of stood for essentially. Yeah, and they changed it. Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I think I appreciate WCW more than say. Let's face it, if WCW didn't happen, where would WWE be now?
Yeah.
We'd probably be 10 years further down the line of having Cena thrown in our face, which just we don't need.
Yeah. What's some? I think promotion. I think every promotion at some point has been amazingly good. Even TNA, even WCW was amazing at some points. What were some of the best kind of things, the highlighting moments for our promotions that we love? Because I say for me, TNA 10-10. I don't know, it's just 10-10-10 when Abyss he had the match with Rob Van Dam, the Stairway to Janice match, I think it was, and then what was it? Immortal, was it, took over? Was that the group? Yeah. Immortal. They took over. Like, I think for me, and I think we said on the car over here, Aces and Eights angle was
I think that was when I first started watching TNA properly.
Yeah.
And that was actually really good. Like having that whole kind of biker gang was very kind of reminiscent of the NWO, but they never spread like the NWO did because they
probably for the better.
But they had the Latin NWO and God knows what else.
BWO,
Wolfpack. Yeah, BWO was ECW.
Oh, of course it was. Yeah, with Blue Nova and Blue Meanie and
But that spread like wildfire, and it probably essentially helped kill WCW.
It obviously did. They didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like, shit, we got this gold platinum radio CD. Fuck, what do we do with it?
What do we make of the invasion angle in WWE with WCW?
It was a way of keeping up some of the contracts till they ended, and we're going to really fuck you guys over.
It could have been booked.
You out, we're going to fuck you over.
It could have been booked like a billion times better.
Yeah,
most things could though, couldn't they? Let's face it.
Well, yeah, we can start at WrestleMania 32 and work our way backwards if you like. But no, it could have been booked a billion times better. But I think some of the stars they actually brought in wasn't that bad. Well,
they could basically have the pick of the entire wrestling world. A
lot of people slate it, and I was going to bring it up and not have you two lynch me, I hope. But I actually didn't find the invasion angle. as overly bad as people thought. I thought they did what they could have done. You know, had they had the likes of Goldberg and God knows who else, like the contracts that Turner had signed and said, you're going to get paid regardless, and go out of business, and they're still being paid a year later for a contract they've signed.
That hurt.
Yeah, and
genuinely hurt. As a WCW fan, it hurt the way they were doing it.
And like, to be honest, like watching it from a WWE point of view, I was looking at these guys thinking, I don't want you to win at all. And you know, being at that age, it was kind of like that for me again was a really good rivalry, having that
What years was the Invasion angle?
2001,
2002.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm closing in on it, but not quite.
But
what
yeah,
hurt me is because something happened. I couldn't get WCW anymore, but I can get WWE, so I switched over to WWE at that point. What hurt was the fact there was no Goldberg, there was no Sting there in that Invasion, and I know that's something to do with contracts. But when you got, like, you had Sting as WCW versus the NWO, and the one time you needed that one fella, he wasn't there.
I think the biggest name they brought over, actually no, probably not the biggest name, but one of the biggest names that they brought over, yeah, that got over was Booker T. And I knew very little of Booker T at the time, like when it happened.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was the biggest star, but he probably was by that time.
Didn't he have like one of the final matches and win the championship on the last WCW?
We've had that in a quiz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Him and Scott Steiner, wasn't it?
Scott Steiner,
yeah.
I mean, that championship belt was changing from every single week. It was a bit of a farce back then.
Well, yeah, but you know, when someone wins it by being poked with a cattle prod, we're going to leave it there.
that breaks a streak right there.
What kind of defining moments has WWE had as a promotion? Like promotion-defining moments for them? Have they really had many? Like, because like I guess WWE, you had the Hulk Hogan coming in. That pretty much defined them.
Yeah.
Coming in. Would it be?
I don't think there's one moment that would say this is WWE.
Put them on the map, or the Screwjob.
I just think that whole promotion within it. Well, maybe the Screwjob, but I think that wasn't that. I think that was for the worst. Really.
Do you know what? I think you could probably pinpoint WWE back to WrestleMania 1.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Like, you know, you've got Hogan, you've got Cyndi Lauper, you've got Muhammad Ali or
Mr.
T, whoever it was. You've got all these big names, and it was the first time. I know Starrcade had already been around at that point, but it hadn't had the television side.
No. Wasn't Starrcade very much still just that region? Whereas I think
it was on. I think it was on like what the Americans called it, closed circuit telly.
Oh, I know.
So
WrestleMania 1 definitely was. I'm just wondering, because the thing that was the biggest thing with WrestleMania 1 was that Vince kind of broke a lot of the unwritten rules. Did he bring in guys from other promotions that were contracted elsewhere? And
I think there's probably a lot of back stuff that he did that he shouldn't have done.
So he basically kind of broke the code of thou shalt not use our talents on your show, sort of thing. And
but I also think
let's do it.
Yeah, but I think if he didn't take that risk, would we be sat here now talking about
probably not
these type of shows and stuff? Because
Austin, Shawn
in fact,
it wouldn't. You know, like
one thing I've often think actually at the moment with the UK wrestling scene, as good as it is right now, I think it could be so much better if everybody kind of pulled together. It kind of strikes me now as kind of like the territories in America. There's big promotions dotted around all over the UK.
The UK is small enough to have a national promotion.
I don't get why someone hasn't done it yet. Why? I don't know, maybe Mark Dallas up in ICW, or if
there's
Jim...
one thing called in the industry that's going to happen everywhere, and unfortunately it happens also in the UK, is egos. There's too many.
I don't think every owner of every promotion could work together, but I would be very interested to see if one owner would just step up and go, fuck it.
NGW is up in Hull.
Yeah.
They're quite big. And like say ECW, I think going to be
there's Wrestle, is it there's WrestleFest. ICW, yeah. ECW. And you got WrestleFest that tries to bring people together, but I could you imagine if granted it would take a bold move and piss a lot of important people off. But if one promoter just steps up and said, I'm going to sign these guys to contracts, I'm going to get myself a genuine TV contract, we're going to put on the absolute best wrestlers from all around. They're not allowed to work anywhere else on the UK thing unless I say so. And kind of do what Vince did, and because we have got some incredibly talented people on this side of the Atlantic. We've interviewed a handful of them, and I think
one's about to make a New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Will Ospreay, yeah.
Uh-huh.
In fact, that's the thing. I mean, I just can't help but think that we could do with our own version of WWE, because wrestling is popular right now.
And it's getting bigger.
I was going to say, it's probably as big as it has been since the Attitude Era.
Yeah, well, I'm discovering, in fact, even just today, I found out 2 more people that I work with happen to watch wrestling and were able to hold a conversation with me about it. I was shocked because I've known them for months. And
what I found quite funny
idea.
is I was going into work and I went on to work on Tuesday and my boss said to me, "Oh, you watch Mania?"
Yeah.
Not thinking he'd watched it.
Yeah.
I went on and on about it and he went, "You're really quite open about this wrestling thing, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I speak to some people and I've got friends who watch it, but they're like, in social groups, it's like, I know I don't watch that."
Yeah, it's
like, but it's getting much bigger.
Radio, we were trying to break that out.
In all honesty, I kind of almost defined my adult life by the moment I decided to kind of almost come out about liking wrestling.
You've come out.
It kind of felt like that.
Yeah, I am.
And in fact,
Dad, I'm a wrestling fan.
I remember I was working in a call centre, and Paul McSherry, a regional promoter from around here, sent round we would receive hundreds of shift swap emails a week saying, "Oh, I'm working this shift on this day, but I want to work later or earlier." He sent one round saying, "Oh, this Monday I'm working in early, but I really want to get a late because I'm staying up to watch the Royal Rumble on Sunday night." And I was like, "Holy shit!" He just publicly mentioned wrestling and like. And then I think the second part was I spoke to Scott Star Spud, found out that he liked wrestling, and then all of a sudden I kind of learnt that it wasn't this sort of thing to be enjoyed alone,
what
sat
I
in your
find
house.
quite strange is that me and you, Ollie, we've been friends for a while.
A long time,
Well, quite a long time. And it's only really like...
We're going back to like early teens, I think.
Yeah, and it's only really when I have a few drinks and we're hanging around bonfires that wrestling gets mentioned, then it's left alone for a while.
That's it.
And then it comes up again a bit later on, and now we're sat here talking about it, and it's a good decade or so.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
and I think it's weird, isn't it? How it is still kind of, but I think it's getting bigger. And I think now is a time that a UK wide promotion, because I don't think ICW could do it because they're a bit too extreme. I saw a video recently where it was a teabag match, I think, and both guys ended the match with their dick and balls out.
Let me guess, they were calling who won that.
I didn't see that, but I did hear a podcast on that.
The clip didn't last very long on Facebook, let's put it that way, despite all the hours that the editors put into trying to blur out various pieces of junk.
I think the phrase "dick swinger" was thrown around at some point.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But
you reckon they played rock paper scissors to see who lost that match?
Maybe.
They
both got the sausage every time. But I think ICW is potentially the biggest promotion that we've got. But I don't think they could make it on a national.
Progress quite.
But ICW just they sold out a 6,000 seater at the Hydro in Glasgow for their biggest show of the year. That's pretty good. That goes
ICW
down.
Is the biggest.
It was the most.
It's had like national coverage with BBC having their documentaries.
The ICW.
I'd say it's where Grado and that came from.
The ICW show broke record attendances for wrestling in the UK. There was a record that was standing for I don't know how long, but they broke it because they had the most people. I think Progress has got a very solid fan base, but they seem content to sticking to the small club. They sell their little club out within minutes. I think they could easily sell out bigger venues, but I think they're holding their guns and keeping it small stage.
We need a promotion who don't rely on imports. Like ICW.
See, this is a tricky discussion.
All right, Drew Galloway comes
We're gonna drag this out because I recently made a comment on someone's Facebook. I don't know them. I'm part of a random group of wrestling fans moaning about.
I bet you piss a lot of people off.
In fact, I get a lot of likes. I get a lot of likes on my comments because I think I talk logically more than anything. If it wasn't for imported talents, I would never have gone to an independent show in this country.
Yeah, I agree with that point.
So I saw. It started off with.
But then, do you not think maybe then that's a draw? A bit like some people go, "Oh yeah, I know about WrestleMania because The Rock was there, but The Rock's in Hollywood." So do you not think that's just?
You need to have things that hook people in.
What I was on about is when a promotion gets big enough that they don't need the import.
Yeah.
That's when I think they're ready to then become televised and then become like that.
But I think you need that because to say, if I remember seeing, I started off with British Boot Camp season 1. I discovered people like Rockstar Spud, liked him on Facebook, found that he was going to promotions. I was like, oh, there's some other promotions around, so I liked them. Then I saw that one had Christopher Daniels and Kazarian going to them, and I immediately messaged you and Scott. I said, guys, we've got to be at this show. It's in Stevenage on this day. I really want to fucking go. And that was the first time we saw El Ligero, Kaylee Ray, Robbie X, Will Ospreay was in the opening match. Sumerian Death Squad, the London Riots, Styx, There was so many people. That's it. Yeah, Curry Man was there. Rich Swann, who's now in NXT.
Yeah.
There was because we went to see the two imports that we knew. We then came away knowing everybody else, and we followed them ever since. I mean, look. So we saw Will Ospreay wrestle in Bedford in front of maybe 200 people. Now he's flown off to Japan to headline an event tonight. It's crazy stuff. And if it wasn't for the imports, we wouldn't have.
We wouldn't have gone. We wouldn't have seen them.
We wouldn't know who half these people were, or we wouldn't have had a chance to see Will Ospreay before we got big.
Do you think with the promotions, just coming off that subject a little bit more, do you think with the promotions there is like a stepping stone? So like when you have a normal job, you have like team member, supervisor, manager, blah blah whatever. Do you reckon there is like a thing where like, okay, you start in independence, then you go somewhere like, I don't know, TNA, and then you go to Japan, learn a different style, and then come across to WWE? Is that kind of like something as a wrestler you would go, that's my step, that's my goal?
There's a few. I mean, look at Baron Corbin. He's never wrestled an independent show in his life. Big E came through from a football background. American football. It's a mix. I think there's no way to get to the top that's set, but you can't deny people like Kevin Owens, like Sami Zayn, the work they put in on the independents. I
always appreciate them more.
Well, that's it. That's why they're so over. And I mean, the Sami Zayn's Olay chant that plagues him everywhere. That was from his El Generico days, where and that was his kind of his chant because he was a Latin guy, and that chant has followed him, and that kind of. I think a lot of people now don't realise why they chant Olay.
No, I don't.
Olay. And it goes all the way back to his Generico days. That was his chant back then, and I'm guessing Fight Owens Fight was a thing for Fight Steen Fight, maybe, I don't know.
I think Fight Steen Fight was actually a thing.
That's it.
Beforehand,
that was Fight Owens.
It builds them up. Whereas Baron Corbin and people like Big E come in and they've had to build everything up from the ground. They haven't had this decade of experience behind them. So I think the independents are very important, without a doubt. Especially, if you're passionate about wrestling, if you want to be a wrestler, you apply to the WWE. If they don't let you in straight away because you haven't got the experience, you go out, you find.
You try again. Yeah.
If you want to be a supervisor at Cineworld, you don't just walk in there and say I want to be a supervisor. You start off at an Odeon. You start off cleaning toilets at an Odeon. You build your way up to Cineworld.
Look at Samoa Joe and. I'm not saying
slap you so hard.
No, it's true. You
actually, to be perfectly honest, I just walked straight in and was just like,
you are the Baron Corbin of Cineworld.
I am, that's right.
You got these poor till operators that have been cleaning toilets for 5 years. They want to wear that blue uniform, and you're denying them that opportunity.
I am the Baron Corbin of Cineworld. Yeah, that's right. I just don't have the Muppet-like belly button he has.
Please tell me you go in to work while they're mopping up and you do the Luco Mac.
with muddy shoes.
Right. Okay. So tomorrow morning, I will send you guys a video of me Luco Macking across the hall.
That would do it. Do it.
We get that.
I think Luco Mac is now your name.
But no, I was just talking about Samoa Joe, who was at the WWE, had a trial thing. He had a couple of matches, didn't he, back in the day, but it wasn't good. He didn't get a contract.
AJ Styles definitely. I'm not sure about Joe.
Samoa Joe definitely was. Obviously, he had to go off and do the whole indie thing with the TNA and all that other stuff before he's now back in NXT, ready to get into the main roster. So back then, he wasn't quite ready. He needed to go out onto the indie scene and make his claim, if you like.
Just noticed we've been going on. We've almost been going an hour. Do we want to split this in two?
Nah, you're good.
You sure?
Yeah.
We can
promotions.
Make it a two-parter.
I mean, there's so many promotions.
There is. We haven't scratched the surface on some of them. Like Japan, there's a lot of promotions. One thing I wish I could get over here is Pro Wrestling Guerrilla (PWG). Okay. I see billions of GIFs and memes and little video clips of their matches, and I'm dying to see some of that. Things like companies like Evolve, who is basically the farm company for NXT. Yeah. So it's like the farm company for WWE.
Go get their picks from somewhere.
They have. There's just so many promotions out there. There's just so much.
There's so many. Why don't you guys on Facebook and on the Twitter let us know. Facebook.com/Figure4Radio or at Figure4Radio.
Random question: what do you guys like? If you were guys were to name the in your opinion the biggest 3 promotions in the world?
What, right now or ever?
Right now. Who? Because it's an interest.
It's not WCW. We're going to leave that.
All right, mate.
I think WWE's got to be number 1. Personally, for me, I put TNA at number 2, but a lot of people put New Japan.
I'd probably put New Japan at number 2.
Why?
Just for the. New Japan for me is.
I get the feeling they get the biggest crowds between them and.
I was going to say it's mainly crowd numbers. Like they have a consistent crowd, whereas, like I said, TNA has dropped so much.
Yeah.
For
example,
we mentioned that when we were
it's-
talking about stables. That they're potentially the biggest thing in wrestling.
And
that is
how
in
do I
America.
know of New Japan Pro Wrestling is because of the Bullet
Club? Yeah.
So and then I'd probably would say TNA, but I actually think Ring of Honor's probably snapping at its heels.
It really is.
I think it's
Instead of
like
TNA looking ahead of WWE, then
it's looking back at Ring of
I
Honor.
think for a British guy, I think TNA's got to be number 2 because they're on. I mean, the focus that TNA put on Britain and British talent,
minus the internet. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think it would have to be WWE then TNA.
Yeah, and I think just for as far as reach goes, I think TNA is probably on more TVs globally than anybody else other than WWE.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would we say NXT is its own thing?
I would say so. I would honestly say it is. It's got its own little brand.
I hate to
But
admit
then,
it,
but I think it's the thing. Like it is its own thing, but it does. It's only really shown on the network, and it's still under the banner of WWE.
I'll be honest. I don't know if I like to admit this, but the arena was fuller and louder for NXT Takeover London than it was a few weeks later for TNA's live tour.
Yeah.
I think
to be honest, though, that doesn't surprise me, and that is like I just said, it's probably down to that WWE banner as well. It's not just down to NXT.
But look at the guys NXT are now getting in. They're basically getting the good people from TNA. They are overtaking, if you like, TNA. And they will do that because of the network. And because of the guys they're bringing in. Like you say, Zayn Zayn's.
They are putting on I mean, I think the thing is that with NXT, they're not doing anything too flashy. They're not relying on gimmick matches or high spots like Lucha Underground do.
NXT, NXT is still essentially that learning curve.
They get the fundamentals spot on.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple promos,
and it's simple storytelling. Yeah. None of it's over the top. None of it's too contrived.
No one's trying to kill someone's dog and feed it to them. No one's busting in on someone's funeral.
What I think helps TNA.
Two boss man ones right there.
TNA. NXT is the other program that's also on the WWE network, like Breaking Ground.
Yeah, Breaking Ground. I absolutely love. I think that's what got me into NXT. If I'm being honest,
I think that's what's helping NXT.
Yeah, I loved Breaking Ground without a doubt.
I haven't seen a single episode.
You watch it all. Genuinely, it's one of the best wrestling shows.
I've heard a lot about it.
Shows I've ever seen.
I heard a lot about and
genuinely, yeah.
It's going to sound so marky, but it was literally the wrestling of NXT that got me into it.
Oh yeah,
it was. They were pushing
the storytelling in the ring.
They were just pushing it on Raw, saying, we've got the show NXT right. I thought, okay, I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. It was just the wrestling. It was so good.
Now I'm starting to get into NXT. Like the takeover, I've just been watching it, and now I'm starting to like it because I know the people. I've seen one or two NXT, but I couldn't quite get into it. It wasn't quite great.
I think for me, there's a few things that NXT do that not many other people are doing. Squash matches. It's not always big contenders against big contenders. Like leading up to the tag titles match, each tag team had a squash match against two jobbers, basically, kind of like the WWE was back in the day, back in the 80s. So they fill up their TV time and they keep teams strong without burying anybody that's not a jobber.
Yeah.
Although I don't want to put the other guys down because you need. I read an article.
You need jobbers.
Yeah, I read an article, but after Stan Hansen's Hall of Fame speech, when he mentioned the Carpenters, and I didn't know what he meant. And the Carpenters were people that they go out there
a lot of shit songs.
Not the music group, not the music family. They're the people that they train in the gym just as hard as the main event stars. They learn the moves and they learn the ropes and they're just as skilled. But their job, as I say, is to go out and lose and make other people look good. So they work exactly. They'll work just as hard as people like Roman Reigns and John Cena, but they don't get the fame, they don't get the fortune, they don't get the paycheck. They work just as hard, and without those people, a lot of the stars of the 80s and 90s wouldn't exist. And I think NXT are using these younger guys, giving them the experience. I think there's a guy called Corey Hollis, his tag team partner. They're just two guys thrown together to get beat every week. But in the progress, they're making the teams like American Alpha and the Revival. They make them look good because it's they've been on. These teams have been on telly for another week and they still haven't lost. You've still seen them win. And granted, it's not big wins, but it's making them strong.
It's a second mention for Curryman this evening, but that's essentially like they threw him and Shark Boy and whoever to EC3 just to get him over and have that unbeaten streak
I love
for
that
a while.
thing. And in fact, actually, there we go. That was the last time I think TNA used jobbers. Was as a kind of almost like a joke.
Who were the first 2 people EC3 for? Because they was just...
that was Dewey...
Dewey Little Man and Skinny McGee.
Yeah, Skinny Pisstain and somebody else. But yeah, I mean, those two guys were...
You can tell they obviously still know how to wrestle.
Yeah.
The way they're bumping and stuff.
But they were very influential in starting EC3's career because, as I say, they gave him his first
such
wins.
big-headed and a twat, didn't he?
That's the thing. And it
the thing
worked.
is, he's such a good heel.
You'll
let him.
I don't like him. I like him as a babyface, but I loved him more as a heel, I think, to be honest. But yeah, no, I think that NXT are doing a lot of things that...
They're doing it right.
They're doing it, but they're doing stuff that people have forgotten to do, like make just simple adverts to let you know what's going on next week. Just a quick promo before the main event, say next week this will happen.
Do you think NXT will get too big for itself? Do you think as a promotion it will end up drawing more views than...
I did start worrying that things like when they brought people like Rhino in for a short run and things like that it was starting to turn into TNA 2.0 when they're bringing in the veterans. But to be honest, I don't think they will. I think I think
they'll just be... WWE will just push them back down.
Yeah, no, I think it needs to be that kind of like I've mentioned with Progress. Keep it in a small area. Keep your big fish in small ponds, and it will always seem larger than life. Because how many people have gone from NXT and then been small fish in big ponds and have just got lost in the shuffle? Tyler Breeze, my heart bleeds for that guy because it's. Yeah. He was a big deal and he got called up and it's impressive. Everyone applauded him for it. And he's kind of just got lost in the shuffle. The Ascension, longest reigning tag team in NXT, don't think they've ever won in WWE.
But then that's down to poor booking.
True.
That's not just the guys they have got lost in the shuffle, like you said, but that is down to Vince looking at them going, this is Triple H's thing. Let's just not give them great matches and see how they go over. I
think in this day and age in 2016, Vince has got to appreciate what NXT is doing, like the Battle Royale, the winner. And
definitely.
But
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens looking strong. Just the response from TakeOver Dallas was just huge. As an event, it definitely surpassed WrestleMania. I hate to say it.
What do you think is going to happen to NXT and WWE when Vince finally his socks?
When he finally
retires
up.
Or retires.
I kind of hope they stay the same, if I'm being honest. I don't want to see it, but then I said earlier, I think change,
WWE main roster might get better. The actual product from WWE might actually become NXT.
I think that is the problem, though, is like... I'm not going to class myself as a casual fan, but then I'm also not like the most in-depth fan on the planet. But I think I want to see more people from NXT on Raw, and there's a few people on Raw that I don't ever want to see again.
Zack Ryder.
Yeah. Oh man, what the fuck happened with Zack Ryder? I was confused as fuck on Sunday night. Woke up Monday morning.
Still confused.
Technically, I woke up Monday night confused. Woke up on Tuesday, read what happened on Raw, like. What the fuck?
So you're going to give him a massive WrestleMania moment, make him win the title, and then drop it to the fucking Miz.
Yeah.
That's two people in that sentence that I feel sorry for Zack Ryder because he lost to someone who's more of a twat than he is.
I watched a YouTube reaction video straight after, and someone's reaction was, I don't really get why Zack Ryder won it, but at least it wasn't the Miz. And I just chuckled because I
was sat next to you. And I tweeted, "Fuck you, Ryder."
And then someone replied, "Woo, woo,
woo, woo."
Yeah, fuck off. Fuck off. But no, I think as far as promotions go, WWE are the giants. They will always be the giants for as long as they want to be the giants.
No other promotion can do what they did.
Do we think they'll ever stop? Will they just turn into like the NBA or the NFL?
I think it's got the longevity in it.
Yeah.
As long as something like NXT is around to feed it, they're going to be absolutely fine.
Will we ever in our lifetime see anybody rival it, do we think?
I hope so. I'd love to see another war. I'd love to see someone come in. Yeah, we hear all the stories of, TNA's been brought out of us. I'd love someone to generally come in and say, look, here's a couple of £1 billion. Here's your TV time. Get the talent in and just run with it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see another war.
What I
That'd be
think could happen, just because the world is getting smaller because of the internet, New Japan Pro Wrestling going up against WWE, I think that could be.
I'm
I
not
don't
sure
think
if that'll ever happen. They've
It
tried
won't
that
happen.
before, I think. They've done like dual bookings between the Orient and the East and the
But
West.
the thing is,
It's just
is
two
like,
Not like
different
that, I meant
styles.
like a Monday Night War
Yeah.
between them.
but then
then-
I think the thing is though the wrestling styles are completely
Yeah,
different.
crowds are completely different.
Yeah, I
Like
guess so,
the thing
yeah.
is like the
Time zones as well. You're never going to be able to get a Monday night because it'll be Monday morning versus Monday. Like,
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Point well
Yeah.
made. But then it's the internet.
yeah, I guess.
Who's going to
This is true.
subscribe more to the WWE network or the New Japan Pro Wrestling Sushi Bar?
But why do you think?
why is it a sushi bar?
Why do you think AJ Styles was thrown straight into the spotlight? And why do you think Finn Balor won the NXT title at Beast in the East? And why do you think he still has it? It's because they're trying to keep the big Japan
Yeah,
guys
exactly.
front and center, so that people in Japan can go, oh, look at this at WWE. They got that Finn Balor. And AJ Styles.
Wow, we just opened a massive can of racism right there.
But my point is that they need these guys because they were huge in Japan.
And
Do
now they're
we-
gonna be huge over here.
Yeah, do we
And it
reckon
brings the
that?
Japanese viewers in?
Do you reckon now that Nakamura's in NXT,
Oh.
he's taking the title? Because that will draw more.
He could. Well,
More
I
across.
guess.
He will.
Well,
He will have
I
that
think.
title.
I think
Yeah.
if that is the case, if that is the direction they go, that is Triple H basically saying, "Here, Japan, let me suck you all off simultaneously. Enjoy my wrestling product." Thank you.
And if
Good
not
night."
me,
Pretty
here's
much.
Yeah, like it's it'll be very much pandering to Japan, much like much like TNA
But isn't
pandered
it
to
worth?
England.
Yeah, but isn't it worth doing that?
Of course, because
Well, it's a
people,
market that they can basically just suck in and like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the fact that we're talking about Nakamura and Sami Zayn and AJ Styles and Finn Balor.
Yeah.
We know who they are.
Exactly.
So-
Japan
Not just-
really. Japan put them on the map in some cases.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're now over, well, I say over here, over in America doing their thing to the largest audience in the world.
Yeah.
Fair
I
play
think
to
the
Triple
thing
H.
is, I think WWE is always going to have the largest audiences worldwide. I don't think you could have a Japanese, a New Japan
Yeah.
network,
Oh,
and I don't think it'll be as popular.
No, New Japan have a network. They have it on
Do
demand.
they?
A lot of. to be
I
honest-
missed that one.
To be honest, New Japan, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Progress Wrestling over here, ICW. There's every major promotion has its own on-demand service, but it's just promotion-wise. But
guess so.
then as well, do you really want to pay $5.99 to watch ICW on demand? Also pay £10 to watch the network. Pay a couple more quid each month to go and watch.
Yeah, I guess so.
This-
You
it's-
go.
You've got to pick your
Who's
your
the
team.
richest man
almost.
on the earth? Can't we just like write an open letter to him and go, go on, just
Bill
give somebody.
Gates, is it, or is it Mark
But why
Zuckerberg
not
now?
Bill
Surely
Gates?
Zuckerberg's more
Maybe.
worth more now. Surely.
Facebook Wrestling.
FCW, Facebook
F4
Championship
Facebook
Wrestling,
Championship Wrestling.
He brings FCW back.
Oh.
That would be interesting.
Oh no, because all promos will be done over statuses and faces.
Poking.
Yeah.
You poke
Faces
my
will be who
missus.
gets the
Yeah.
most likes. It'll just be horrible.
That'd be an interesting way to run it, though.
No, it wouldn't. Not at all. You could do it for a week and see how it goes.
Because you couldn't fix that. You couldn't. You could keep it. You could, fuck kayfabe. If you got the likes on Facebook, you get this championship match. That could be interesting. How many?
Yeah,
how many
but then-
That's even
But
worse
hang
than
on a
my
second.
finders keepers, man.
Hang on a second. Let's say, hang on. If you completely fuck off kayfabe like that, you might as well fuck off kayfabe every week. You can't
throw it
bury
out there.
kayfabe.
Just throw it out there.
And that's it for the promotions this week. Thank you to the mastermind, Ollie Spring.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you to Luke O'Mac.
You're very welcome.
Here comes the cider. cider.
Never gonna live it down.
I still-
Never.
It was epic.
I still want to see that video of you doing that through Cineworld.
We need to
It's
get that
gonna
dance.
happen,
We
it's
need to get
fine.
that dance.
I do have a horrible image of you doing the Luke O'Mac while peeing around and just going everywhere.
I can send you that on a private video. It's fine.
I'm good.
Painting the walls. Oh my god.
If you want to see that video, then go and check us out on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Figure4Radio, or indeed follow us on Twitter. It's @Figure4Radio. Why not check us out on our website? It's figure4radio.weebly.com. Anyway, thank you for checking us out. Thank you for listening. All about promotions. If we missed anything, then go on to the website, onto the Facebook, and let us know. Anyway, thank you for listening. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Figure 4 Radio.
This has been a Figure 4 Radio production. For more podcasts, go to our website www.figure4radio.weebly.com.